Hey guys, thank you so much for watching Riff with Cliff. In today's video, I want to go over how to get massive sounding rock guitars. If you have anything recorded and your guitars just sound thin, well, hopefully some of these tricks can help you to get bigger, fuller, in your face, beefy, punchy sounding guitars. You know, stuff that sounds rock and roll. That's what we want. So if you like this kind of content, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more content where you can see all stuff on guitars and recording now, because that's what I'm doing. Cool, well let's waste no time, let's get right into it. The first thing that I recommend when trying to record guitars is to actually dial in a good amp sound. So many people that I know just plug straight into their amp and then they just don't do anything. You have so many different options just on the amp alone. What you can do is you can actually move around some of these knobs, equalization knobs like your lows, your mids, and your highs, and dial in a great tone. Some amps even have a presence knob, which is really cool that they even have that. Moving these around can really help you shape your tone before you even record it, and that's the first thing that I recommend, because you want to capture the tone right as it's going in to your DAW. Number 2, stereo tracking. Throw 2 microphones in front of your speaker that you're recording. In my case, I was using this orange Rockerverb 50. It's one of my favorite amps. It's really aggressive and beefy and fuzzy sounding. Really cool for rock and roll and metal overall. But in order to get an even bigger sound, I throw a second microphone on the cabinet. And we can actually see that here in this session that I have. This is a song from my band. I'll let you go ahead and listen to it real quick. Cool, so we can see here that I actually have 2 different tracks that are being used for the electric guitar. On one of the tracks I was using a 421, and on the other track I was using an SM7B, which is a Shure microphone. That will give them 2 different distinct sounds or different flavors of tone just in the microphone. I actually had a teacher one time tell me that the microphones are kind of like the pizza and the preamp is kind of like the oven. So think of it as just 2 different flavors that you can get just in the mic alone. Now that we've got a really good amp sound, we're adding 2 really cool mic sounds on top of that, and we kind of blend them together to make an awesome sound. Number 3, we need to check the phase of the guitars. So what I mean by that is if we zoom in really up close on these guitars, we can see that they are in phase here. And we can see that here with this waveform going up, and then on the other track this waveform is going up. Or let's go over here where we can see right here this is going down and this waveform is going down. We want that to be the same on both. Now they could be ever slightly off, but we want it to be as close as we can. Because of that, if I solo these tracks, it will sound nice and full and big. That's what we want. Listen. Just for an example, I actually have Pro Tools EQ1. It's just their stock EQ. And I throw that on the track that has the SM7B. If I hit this button here, which just flips the phase, you'll actually hear a lot of the sound disappear. Now if I flip it back, huge difference. You hear all that warmth and that low end come back together. And the reason for that is because the guitars are in phase. There's no phase cancellation. There's none of those frequencies that are just being canceled out. That's what we want. Number 4, panning. Okay, so this is a big one to get a big stereo effect. What we can do is we can take both of these tracks and pan one to the left and one to the right. Right now I have them going up the middle. What I mean by that is both tracks are in the center. If we take one track and we bring it, I don't know, 49 to the left, and let's take the other track and bring it 49 If I get it close, 51 to the right. I try to get it as close as I can. That's gonna make the guitar with the 421 come out of the left speaker, and the guitar with the SM7B come out of the right speaker. Well, more so. It'll be shifted more towards the right and more towards the left, and vice versa, which will give you a bigger, wider stereo image. Panning is everything and can give you a huge stereo image, which just sounds good overall. It's the way to go. Do me a favor, guys. Take a second to like and subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content or if you're learning anything. As a bonus, here is a video of my dog barking at the mailman. Okay, back to the video. The next thing that we like to do is we like to clean up the low end frequencies and the high end frequencies. We can band pass it just a little bit because there's a bunch of unwanted information in that low end that we really don't need in our signal. Taking a look here at my two tracks, I have them going out to an all guitar sub right here and into this auxiliary track right here, all guitar sub. That means that both of these are feeding to this channel here. If I take this EQ from Universal Audio, it's an SSL channel strip, it allows me to do some equalization. So right off the bat, what I like to do is I like to cut a little bit of that low end where there's just unwanted noise, stuff we really just don't need. Let's get rid of it. Let's dial that in. I like to get rid of a lot of that woofiness that's just not really useful and subtracts from the overall sound of the guitar, or can mask some frequencies in the low end that we really don't want there. I try to do the same actually for the high end, some of that shrillness that we don't want. But I do like a little bit of that fuzziness. I think it adds a lot to rock guitars. What we can do is we can sweep those frequencies and find where it starts to cut away from our main guitar sound and cut right before or right after that so that we're not losing anything of important information in there. Sometimes guitars can have problems from 500 to 800 hertz. I like to clean that up a little bit as well. We don't want any of that fighting with the mid-range or the low end and the bass guitars. I just don't want it to be muddy. So let's go ahead and clean that up. First thing I want to do is I want to cut away some of that low end that we don't need. So let's go ahead and listen here. That cleans up the low end quite a bit, and we can hear all that unwanted woofiness kind of just disappear. It goes away, to be completely honest with you. Let's also clean up some of that high end. You can hear that that frequency is really clicky, just shrill. So I'm going to cut away a little bit of that in the high end. And now let's bypass that and listen to the difference. Big difference. I always think it's better if you can to attenuate before you start to boost frequencies, because that way you're not adding unwanted gain where you need to. I noticed too when recording with microphones, if you use a condenser mic, a condenser is more likely to be a bright microphone. So keep that in mind. You might have to cut away a little bit more of the high end on a condenser if it sounds too shrill or too bitey. Let's put all of that back into our signal and listen to how those guitars sound. It really tightens up the guitars a lot. It makes them sound bigger and more prominent in your mix, and it doesn't fight with a lot of the other stuff. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this helped you out at all, please leave a comment and let's talk about it. Be sure to thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for all things rock and roll and all things rock and roll guitar related. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys the next time that I see you. Peace.